Alright, this is Andrew Jelly with Jota Home Inspections. We're at 319 East 4th Ave in Salt Lake City doing a sewer scope. Today is June 7th, 2021. We've got the camera pushed out just shy of 130 feet. You can see that my camera head is underwater right now. We're going to give it a minute to see what's going on, but not a good sign when water is building up in the line and not draining on its own quickly. You always want everything to drain with gravity towards the city connection. You don't want to have anything blocking it, or even worse, flat spots or bellies where it builds up like it's doing here. I know that we're not to the city connection. I pushed the camera out as far as I could get it, and so you will still have some pipe that is your responsibility that we're not seeing. You should have sewer access points every 50 feet. That's the more modern standard. That way you can access the entire line. And I haven't seen any readily accessible cleanouts where I could access further down the line to reach more of the line. We're going to give this another minute to see if it settles down, to see if we can tell what's going on. But at this point, regardless, even if it drains at this point, I would consider this to be holding water for an extended amount of time. I flushed the toilet and I ran the sink water for a minute. Typically water should be rushing down the line. You can see it running, but you shouldn't see it holding water like this. At this point I more want to see what's causing it to hold water. It could just be a belly. It might not be a blockage. It could be a low spot in the line that's holding water, and the only way to permanently fix that is to dig it up. Okay, today's June 7th, 2021. I don't know if I mentioned that. 319 East 4th Ave in Salt Lake City. We're going to pull it back now and see what we find. Okay, so looks like we were dropping into a low part on the pipe. I don't know if there's an offset right there, because right around that same area where it was holding water, I wasn't able to push my camera past it. This is old cast iron pipe. You can see how rusty and rough and corroded it is. And the issue with cast iron is that over time it gets rough like this and it can catch debris, which can lead to a backup. It also flakes and it gets very thin over time, which can lead to backups. I'm sorry, as it flakes it can get thin, and that can cause the pipe to crack or have weak spots. This line's holding a fair amount of debris. I think a little bit of it pushed out as I pushed my camera head out, because I was pushing sludge for the majority of the scope, pushing my line out, or my camera out. That's a sign that the pipe's not doing what it should be. It's not performing in the way of carrying the waste out of the pipe. That debris that you're seeing in the pipe, human waste, toilet paper, things like that, shouldn't just be sitting in the pipe waiting to create a blockage. It should get carried all the way out to the city line. And a lot of sellers will mention, or homeowners will mention, if they have had backups, but just because it hasn't yet caused a backup doesn't mean that it's doing its job. A backup is failure, and so just because it hasn't completely failed doesn't mean that it's doing as good of a job as it could be or should be. One option you may have with this line is to do a liner. A lot of companies offer liners, which is basically a sleeve that they blow into the pipe, and then they harden it and it's like having a new pipe. That looks like a sewer access point. That's a clean out. I don't know where it is. It's probably in the yard. It could be buried. So it does look like you do have some clean outs. We just don't know where. You might consider having the line looked at by a specialist to figure out what's causing that water to get held up, and they could give you a price to repair it. They could probably locate that clean out for you as well with sonar. I would certainly get the insurance on this line since you have a lot of original pipe. The insurance is through HomeServe, and it helps offset the cost when you have a more significant issue or when it fails. I don't know that they cover all of the replacement, but I think it can offset it. The other thing with cast iron is it gets so rough that it can conceal cracks. There's no way to see visually how thick this pipe is. Sometimes they're real thin. I've seen cast iron get replaced that you could literally push your finger into. This pipe has certainly had a good life. If you wanted to prevent backups, you could consider replacing it proactively. And I don't think that would be a bad idea. My counter is at 0, which means we might have been further out than I thought. Sometimes I accidentally click the reset button as I'm pushing it out, and so it's possible that I did that and that it wasn't counting from the actual access point. Okay, I exit down in the basement. You have a smaller clean out access point right there. You have a larger one, but it's a brass cap which was corroded, and so it was easier just to pull the plastic cap even though it's a smaller line and it was tucked back in kind of a tight spot. I would recommend having the line looked at by a specialist and getting prices for repair or replacement. If you're going to push it and not address anything now, I would certainly have the insurance, but be prepared for possible issues in the future because it is a older cast iron line. So I'm going to end this recording now.